morning. Yeah, good morning all. Before we begin, let's acknowledge that we are on the traditional and unceded territory of the Snuneymuxw people. Haichka. See the sky, then I know why I
I'm so excited this morning. It's great to be here. Thank you for joining us wherever you are joining us from. It's a great privilege to have this time on any morning, let alone Sunday morning, to be with all of you and to be sharing what's coming out of this Unity Spiritual Center here on Vancouver Island in Nanaimo. So welcome, and let's begin with a little prayer. So I invite you, wherever you are, if you can in this moment, close your eyes and just get still. Just allow yourself to be present. And maybe your day started out a little hectic. Maybe before this service began, there was a lot of things going on in your world. And I invite you to just leave that at the door as you step into this Sunday service with us, joining in community, joining in togetherness, and joining in love. Allowing Spirit to truly flow through all of us and each of us. We say thank you for this time together. And so it is, amen.
So it is, amen.
And please repeat with me our foundation statement. There is only one presence and one power active in the universe and in my life, God the good, omnipotence. And a vision of Unity Worldwide Ministries is a world powerfully transformed through the growing movement of shared spiritual awakening. And now for some announcements. Hold on, I was stuck on. And now for some introductions. I would like to introduce to you a bunch of different slides. Here we go. Actually, some announcements. We have the 12 powers, and you can find all of these in our weekly newsletter or online at unitynanaimo.org. The 12 powers begins. Oh, excuse me, we've changed to unitynanaimo.ca. We have a 12 Powers workshop coming up with Reverend Paul Hasselbeck. It's 6 Tuesday evenings beginning March 2nd, going till April 6th from 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that would be 4 to 6 p.m. here on the West Coast, and it's online only. And of course, you can find that in our newsletter. And we have some spirit group announcements. Theta Healing Book Study. This will be begins on Thursdays beginning March 18th from 3:30 to 5 p.m. and it's with Viana Stibble. And a Writing Round the Campfire with Edith Friesen, that begins on Tuesday, March 16th. It'll be Tuesday evenings from 7 to 8:30 p.m. Maximum group size for that is 10 participants. So if that's something you're very interested in, you better sign up now. The Love Yourself, Heal Your Life Spirit Group will present a 2-hour special of spirituality-inspired local music on our local community radio, CHLY 101.7. That'll be hosted by Brian Hazelbauer. That is on Tuesday, March 9th from 8 to 10 p.m. And you can listen at 101.7 on, you can listen at 101.7 on your radio dial.
There you go.
There we go. Yeah. And if you're interested in an interview on climate, you can join Don Giberson as he interviews Nanaimo Green Faith Circle founder Julia Roberts, not the actress Julia Roberts, but because that's what I thought of. I was like, Don has Julia Roberts on his show? Oh my God. But no, it's Julia Roberts here on the Green Faith Circle founder, and that'll be on Tuesdays, March 2nd at 11 a.m. So not repeated, just on Tuesday, March 2nd at 11 a.m. And it's called Climate 911. And would it help to have someone pray with you? If that is the case, then please reach out to us. Include your phone number to unitynanaimoprayer@gmail.com, and one of our trained prayer guides will be happy to reach out with a call and sit with you and pray with you and find that place that will support you in whatever's going on. And of course, on Facebook Live from Monday to Saturday, you can join Reverend Patricia at 9 a.m. on the West Coast time, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, Monday to Saturday, Unity Nanaimo Facebook page, and she will lead you in a guided meditation every morning. And pre-meditation service, I guess that's premeditative as well, for our Sunday mornings is every Sunday at 10 a.m. right here on Facebook with either Dawn or Margaret, or either Margaret or Dawn will be with you for that meditation. And today's daily word with connection, which I find that interesting that yesterday we had this wonderful call with the three communities of Comox and Nanaimo and Victoria getting together to dive into a 6-hour exploration into what might be possible for the three communities. And I know I certainly had left that call yesterday with a feeling of great connection to more people on Vancouver Island than I ever have before. And so I thought it was a wonderful experience. And is there other things and other work to do? Absolutely. There's other places to look, and we still have to be in that question of what is ours to do. But with that in mind, today's daily word is connection. I honor my connection with all people. No matter how great the distance that exists between me and the people I care about, I know we are connected by our love for one another. Today, I reestablish and strengthen this connection by reaching out, even if it's only to let someone know that I'm thinking of them. Our connection is also kept strong through prayer. As I pray for those I care about, I bless them by holding my highest vision for their lives, seeing them as healthy, prosperous, happy, and fulfilled. Whether we're in frequent contact or have fallen out of touch, my connection with my loved ones remains strong because we are one in God, one in love. And from Scripture, for in the one Spirit we were all baptized into one body, Jews or Greeks, slaves or free, and we were all made to drink of one Spirit. From 1 Corinthians 12:13. And please join me in blessing our spiritual center. Unity Spiritual Center of Nanaimo is a growing, expanding, unfolding center of light and love, mighty to attract its good and radiate good to others.
Who changed that?
Yeah, that was off, and it was expending.
Expending. Way to go, Ken. Yeah.
Good morning. No, it's not a grammatical error. I knew exactly what I wanted to say. That is God. Now it makes sense? Each time we say our prayer of protection, I remember that I wanted to talk in depth about that, about the significance of the changes we made a little while ago. It was 3 or 4 years ago, Reverend Pat Ball was here, and she introduced a new version of the prayer to us, and I liked it very much, and so we get to do it. She also, if you recall, had us stop getting in a circle for the peace song, and that was really a bitter pill for some of us to swallow, because we were so attached to our circle and the significance of a circle. But we had been growing, And it was getting really difficult to get out of our rows and into the circle. We were too big for the room. Plus, we had a couple of disabled people who didn't move that easily. And so she educated us that the circle is actually, while it's ritualistic and significant, a circle is closed. And so she said, what you want to do is you want to stand in long rows, and the people at the end of the rows want to hold their hands out to welcome more people in. And it was like, oh, all of a sudden it was all right not to be in a circle. And I often think about that, how, never too old to learn new tricks. What we get so attached to sometimes benefits by being shaken up a little bit.
Yeah.
So we changed the prayer for protection, and I'm sure James Dillett Freeman would not mind, because he, like Charles and like Myrtle Fillmore, was cutting edge for his time. The three of them, they were constantly challenging the status quo and challenging their own thinking. And this is what is so refreshing about unity, is that we're always willing to not necessarily do it the way we've always done it. We're willing to look for new ways of doing it. So they were on the cutting edge of unity in those days. On the cutting edge of unity now are some of the current leaders, such as Kelly Isla, who we met yesterday. Just meeting Kelly, that she is a rebel, that she stirs things up. You can know just talking to her. But another leading rebel in unity is Reverend Dr. Paul Hasselbeck, who is doing that 12 Powers course online you might want to look at. He is one of the most respected and most famous of all the unity rebels. Dr. Hasselbeck is probably the person who is most responsible for moving unity into the 21st century. I did several courses with him in Unity Village, and one day I expressed to him the difficulty I was having because I was not brought up in the Christian tradition. And in a lot of the classes, there was still like way too much smacking of traditional Christianity to me. And he acknowledged that. And he told me, he said, I am eliminating all Christian language from my writing. Why? Why? Well, because he wanted to be relevant to people like me who were coming into this, for people who had rejected some of the mainstream Christian principles, but still wanted to have some of those powerful teachings, but not let the language get in the way. Hard for self-knowledge and self-awareness. Those of us who don't just swallow a doctrine whole and then have to live our lives through that filter for the rest of our lives. Those of us who realize that some of the Christian ideas that were given to us when we were younger were beautiful and loving and empowering, and others were poison to our souls, the shame and the guilt. And so he wanted to appeal to people who were committed to a faith path that works for ourselves and for our world. So he's a rebel, and you might enjoy taking his class. But finding the faith path that works for me, and that's the only one we're concerned with, really, is hard work. It's self-knowledge, and it's deep, deep work sometimes to really realize who we are. And as Kelly did in her course yesterday, discover what is our why. Deep work. We're not playing in the shallow end here. And sometimes people come into unity, and they think at first unity is a little bit fluffy, a little bit airy-fairy. Because we do our affirmations, and we say, oh, it's all good and it's all God. And some of these platitudes stumble out of our mouth about how it's all so wonderful. And it's all good, and it's all good. And it is what it is, and we'll just call it good. Everything's fine. No, I'm not angry. You know how we do that unity thing? But there's depth required in our work. The fluffy stuff can cover up the dark side. What Paul Hasselbeck calls the ugly twin. Anybody have an ugly twin that shows up in their life once in a while? Yeah. So the important thing is to know that we have an ugly twin, to be aware of that, discover that ugly twin, and what it is that she does that derails us. How well do you know your ugly twin? Have you taken time to get to know him, her? Charles Fillmore called that our adverse ego. When we empower that ego or that ugly twin and allow her into our space too much, we start to follow her down rabbit holes. Anybody gone down any rabbit holes lately? We move away from our spiritual nature and toward sense consciousness. That is the materialistic view that the only thing that's real is the stuff we can touch and feel. But the truth of what we are is essence. This is the only Christian word that works for me. The interpretation that we are the Christ being the spark of the divine that is present in every one of us, just as much as it was in Jesus, and we can develop that. So the I am, the infinite potential, the Buddha nature, whatever it is you want to call it, is a wonderful oneness, a presence, and infinite potential, and that's what we are. But we cover that up with who I think I am and who I'm afraid I am when we do our deep personal explorations. So who I think I am is usually the good stuff, and who I'm afraid I am is the adverse ego, and they're the ugly twin that I don't want you to know exists. But even before unity, I knew about my ugly twin. I didn't call it the ugly twin those days. I called it waking up on the wrong side of the bed, or PMS, or depression. But I knew when my ugly twin was here. And when my ugly twin was here, there's not much nice in me to go around. And so I would withdraw into keeping my niceness for just those people who were closest to me and be mean to everybody else. Anybody ever do that? So the grown-up thing to do is when we're having an ugly twin moment, acknowledge the presence of the ugly twin and just let people know this is where I am today. And when you're honest and communicate, today I'm not feeling my best, so forgive me in advance, I'm gonna, But for the most part, what we do is we try and cover that up, and that drains all our energy. So tell them what's going on. It's only fair to the people you love and the people you work with. But we don't want people to know about our ugly twin. There are parts of me that I don't want you to know. So I make up a pretend self quite often. The pretend self has good sides. Like this morning, I'm pretending to be a minister. Because I don't want you to know that I'm really a failure in my life. Yeah? Anybody relating here? So another pretend that we have in unity is spiritual icing. That's how I want to be. That's how I wish I was. So that's what I'll get them to think I am. So we put on the spiritual icing, which is all the, oh, I'm so loving and happy. When I first came into New Thought, there actually was a song called I'm So Happy All the Time. I'm so happy all the time. Ugh. We're not. Right, we're not happy all the time. But we try to convince ourselves, and we try to convince others that we're happy. So we put this spiritual icing over everything. And we try to convince ourselves that we've overcome our egos. That's another spiritual snobbery thing with the ego. The ego is all about physical survival, yes, but it also knows. It knows when we need to take time out, when we need to sit down and pray, and when we need to go to church. All those things. Anyway, back to the power for protection, or the prayer for protection. So basically it used to say, the light of God surrounds me, the love of God enfolds me, the power of God protects me, the presence of God watches over me, wherever I am, God is. Now for me, except for that last line, wherever I am, God is, God feels out there. So the light of God. Of is a possessive. It means somebody has something. So what we're actually saying is the light that God has, and the love that God has, and the power that God has, and the presence that God has. Well, if God has all those things, where did God get them? Who gave them to God? So the shift, of course, is that now we say not the light of God, not the light that God has, but the light that God is. the love that God is, the presence that God is, presence that is God, the power that is God. And that destroys the image of God as man. Myrtle Fillmore overcame that perception of God as big human, and she knew that God was essence, spirit, without form. You know, if you can only blow apart that idea that God has to have shape and form. Myrtle suffered with chronic tuberculosis, and her illness did not respond to ordinary faith and prayer. She said, "I finally asked the Lord just why it was that I did not get well." Well, you could read from that Myrtle at that point is talking to an outside God from a very traditional point of view, and that's probably where she started out on her journey. But Myrtle then said, God is not a being with parts like a man. God is principle or mind. So when she said she asked the Lord for a healing, she's not asking or praying to an outside God, she's speaking to herself. Speaking to yourself is good. We all speak to ourselves, right? All those little conversations with the computer or in Costco. Why am I here? That stuff. And I do. I talk to myself and I answer myself. But I don't believe that there are two of me. I can talk to my higher self, the higher aspect of myself, which is what Myrtle did. But sometimes we end up talking to the evil twin and not our higher self. The evil twin don't give good advice, so you have to learn about that evil twin. Anyway, Myrtle said, I explained that I had gone all through my consciousness to see what it was that held me. She had tried to find the fault in her thinking that held her back. And yes, that's the track. But it's hard work. It's playing in the deep end. It's the willingness to take responsibility for our experiences that arise out of our thoughts. And that involves discovering what the error thoughts are, not pretending nothing's wrong. But don't move into guilt now. Never mistake blame for responsibility. We need to pursue self-awareness without self-condemnation. No judging. Myrtle didn't condemn herself. She just looked for the errors and therefore the answers within herself. So don't move into metaphysical guilt. And don't move into metaphysical malpractice. I think I've talked about that before. That's when you say to somebody who's got sick or experiencing an unfortunate circumstance, and what were you holding in your consciousness that made this happen? That is metaphysical malpractice. And why is it that nobody ever seems to ask that question when something goes good? What were you holding in your consciousness that you won the lottery? We don't do that, do we? So metaphysical malpractice and metaphysical guilt, no. So back to Myrtle. She goes on, my higher self said to me, you have looked among your faults. Now look among your virtues. Take note of that. You have looked among your faults for the error. Now look among your virtues for the error. So sometimes even in our most positive, kindest thoughts, there's an error. And it could be that being virtuous is actually costing you something, actually keeping you from knowing yourself. So she looked through her virtues and she came to an awareness and she said, I have tried to keep my feelings to myself, taking great pride in the fact that I never let anyone know when something displeased me. Myrtle had that ugly twin. Anybody have that ugly twin that won't let you let anybody know when you're unhappy? You just go around sucking it up all the time? So this virtue that Myrtle had of being happy all the time, never letting anybody know she was suffering or unhappy, that was causing her illness. She said, I found that I did not feel as sweet and poised on the inside as I did on the outside. Anybody else? So you don't have to be mean or cruel, but you do need to acknowledge and honor those parts of you that are not always sweet and poised. When you share with people that you got up on the wrong side of the bed, then that energy of trying to hold that in is diffused. And there's no more energy wasted in trying to keep it in. And you have more energy for the good stuff. You can state a truth without acting it out, without the drama of how terrible you feel. And when we try to keep it in, all that gets pent up inside. So Myrtle concluded, I began to watch and to redeem this state of mind. I determined to handle all that came to me before I swallowed it and allowed it to irritate, cut, and weaken my nerves and organs. I mean, she was very clear about how much damage holding this stuff was. As I regained real poise, not fake poise, not the pretend self, and the ability to keep my thoughts and feelings truly free, I was healed and restored to strength and normal function. Now, people question whether she actually had tuberculosis because we don't generally think of tuberculosis as a lifelong chronic illness. But whatever it was, she was sickly for a long time in her life, and her awareness and insights actually healed her. Who or what actually healed Myrtle Fillmore? Was it the power of God? Or was it the power that is God and that is present everywhere within Myrtle and within you and within me? So, when a truck runs over you, you don't say, oh, it's all good, it's all good, it's all God. You say, no, I've been run over and I need to handle this. And then when you start there, that's the beginning statement, then you can begin to move on to, well, this is where I am, this is what's happened, and so, decide, like Myrtle, to deal with everything before you swallow it. Then we can figure out a way to use it for good, because our essence is good, and the essence of everything is good. And so often when misfortune happens to us, if we do deal with it responsibly, consciously, mindfully, then we can use that as a teaching opportunity for others. So yes, there's always some good available, but first you have to deal with the bad. And sometimes there's just no denying this is bad. So tell your truth, whether it's good or bad or happy or sad. And then do your affirmations and your prayers and your meditations. Back in the olden days, we used to say, act as if. Fake it till you make it, right? And that's good. But be honest with yourself, because the reason to act as if is to create a channel of subconscious behavior that moves into eventually a conscious behavioral pattern. Act as if, act as if, act as if I'm a generous person. Act as if, and eventually I will become a generation. And fake it till you make it, I just got this one this week, becomes faith it till you make it. Faith, I love this, faith is the bird that feels the dawn and sings before first light. Isn't that beautiful? Faith is the bird that feels the dawn and sings before first light. So when we say there is one power and one presence active in the universe, we're not adding, and it's not mine. We're saying it's active in the universe and in my life. So it's not a power out there. It's the one power, the life power that connects it all. So whatever it comes, we can use it for good if we're self-aware. And it's not all good all the time, but we can always create good of it when we're conscious, when we're aware, when we know ourselves and our ego twins. So that adverse ego, own it. That twin, own it. Get to know what it is and learn how you can use it. Partner with your evil twin to be more of the divine being that you already are. And that's all I got to say about that. Ken.
I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place.
And I invite you to join me now in a brief meditation. If you're comfortable, closing your eyes, relaxing your body, allowing your shoulders to slump and your jaw to slacken, and your whole body to just settle. And breathing deeply, become aware. Become aware of what you might call your twin. That aspect of you that you don't always show, and yet is always present in your words and your actions. If you have ever judged that aspect of yourself, release that now. Forgive everything and return to the presence, the Christ spark, the infinite potential that is you. Seeing your body come alive, brighten and lighten as you focus on the truth of you. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place that is your body. Surely the presence that is God is present in your body, in your mind, one with your spirit. So breathing in the truth of that, breathing in the truth of who you are, knowing your power, your presence, your love, your light. Taking a deep breath together now. Let us bring ourselves back into an awareness of this time, this place, and this truth. And so it is. Nico.
Nico. Thank you. Wow, what a team. Ken, awesome job this morning, as always. Reverend Patricia, beautiful talk. The feedback on Facebook is people just being a real thought provoker this morning for people. So thank you. Kyle, such a brilliant job on the tech. Things are, not that anything has gone wrong in the past, but I can see this morning you're feeling a little more relaxed and things are a little smoother, the transitions for you. And Nico, as always, just brilliant. We're so blessed here to have this incredible group. And of course, we have our team mascot, Gitsala, who just brings joy and yeah. And I'm so blessed to be a part of it. Aw, nice. And I was thinking, Patricia, I used to be enlightened and then I gave that up. Yeah. Yeah. And you also reminded me in your talk of one of my classes this past week. One of the ministers said, "You can't be stolen from unless you yourself are a thief." Which I have just been like, what the? So anyhow, yeah. Take that one home for a while. And thank you to all of you for joining us and for being a part of this and being a reason for us to even be here on Sunday morning sharing this. And of course, your gifts, your donations, your servitude in any capacity that you give back to Unity of Nanaimo is so appreciated. There's on the screen you can see where if you can offer financial support, there's a place to do that. And if you're looking for an opportunity to volunteer your services, you can reach out to our office and see how you can get involved here at Unity of Nanaimo. And if you're already doing that, we say thank you for just being who you are and for being a part of this. And let's take a moment now to bask in the glory of this abundance that we have, this amazing amount of love and offering that comes out of this center, not only on Sundays, but on a daily basis. And join with me in this abundance affirmation. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And let's join in that wonderful prayer for protection. The light that is God surrounds me. I am one with the light. The love that is God enfolds me. I am one with the love. The power that is God protects me. I am one with the power. The presence that is God watches over me. I am one with the presence. Wherever I am, God is, and all is well, and so it is. Amen.